Hello again, this is Mike, and I am the Sports History Collector. Today is a special edition of Athletes at War, Volume 8 for World War II, and it's a special 4th of July edition, and I'm very happy to present this one. I've been wanting to do this for some time. It is baseball's Warren Spahn. I don't think there's anyone that's in the community that doesn't know Warren Spahn. Pitched for parts of 21 years, compiled a 3.09 ERA with a 363 wins against 245 losses, making him the winningest left-hander of all time. They may say that, I believe they say Koufax is the left hand of God. Well, I think everything else is Warren Spahn. Anyway, Warren started off playing in the majors 1942, got a brief cup of coffee, played in 4 games, but only amassed a 0 wins, 0 losses with a 5.74 ERA. That would be the last time he would pitch for a few years because Spahn entered the Army on December 3rd, 1942 at Camp Chaffee, Arkansas, combination training facility and POW camp, and one of the many military bases being built in the crash construction program for the war effort. Following basic training, he was sent to Camp Gruber, Oklahoma, where he was assigned to the 276th Engineering Combat Battalion. He continued to play baseball and helped pitch to the battalion's team to the post-championship. On November 4th, 1944, Staff Sergeant Spahn and his unit, part of the 1,159th Engineer Combat Group, boarded the Queen Mary for France. Of the men in the unit, Spahn later said, some had been let out of prison if they would enlist. So these were the people I went overseas with, he said, and they were tough and rough, and I had to fit the mold. Spahn soon found himself in the middle of action in the brutal Battle of Hürtgen Forest and the Battle of the Bulge. Spahn recalled being surrounded and he and his men having to fight their way out. During one of the coldest winters on record, Spahn said, our feet were frozen when we went to sleep, and they were frozen when we woke up. We didn't have a bath or change of clothes for weeks. In March 1945, the 276th was at Remagen, Germany, working around the clock to repair the Ludendorff Bridge. Though damaged by demolitions triggered by retreating German troops, it had not been destroyed, making it the only Rhine River bridge captured by the Allies. On March 17th at about 3 p.m., Lieutenant Colonel Clayton Rust, the 276th commander, was standing about in the middle of the bridge talking to a fellow officer. Suddenly, everyone heard that it sounded like rifle shots. Rivets were being sheared off from trusses and beams. The bridge, weakened by the demolitions, heavy troop and vehicle activity, and vibration from artillery fire and construction equipment, was collapsing. A total of 28 men were killed or missing and 65 wounded. 18 men were rescued from the river, including Colonel Rust. Spahn was among the wounded, getting hit in the left foot by a piece of bridge shrapnel. The 276 received the Presidential Unit Citation for its actions at Remagen. Spahn was also awarded the Purple Heart. In addition, Spahn received a Battlefield Commission, which lengthened his service by another 6 months. Discharged in April 1946, he returned to Boston in time to post an 8-5 season. The Battlefield Commission made him a lieutenant. Historians and fans later claim that Spahn's 4 years in the Army cost him the chance of reaching 400 wins, but Spahn disagreed, saying, I matured a lot in those years. If I had not had the maturity, I wouldn't have pitched until I was 45. Elaborating on the point, he said, after what I went through overseas, I never thought of anything I was told to do in baseball as hard work. You get over feeling like that when you spend days on end sleeping in frozen tank tracks in enemy-threatening territory. Warren Spahn, we thank you for your service. A couple of quick Warren Spahn stories that are kind of interesting. Excuse me. First one, a few years after he retired, but a couple years before he made the Hall of Fame, Warren Spahn was a was a guest on the TV show Combat. I don't know if any of you remember that, although you might now. Nowadays they have the old shows from the 60s and 70s on many cable channels. But Combat was a show about a group of military soldiers that were going through Europe during World War II, fighting their way through it. And the funny thing in this case, Spahn made a cameo as, you guessed it, a German soldier. I don't know how he took to that, but he, probably just appreciated the fact that he got paid. Second story, the last story for you. The first, I believe I met Warren Spahn twice, but the first one was one of the early shows I went to that was a huge show. And he was one of the later autographs that I got during that show. But the line was pretty darn long, and it kept getting longer. And people were getting kind of a little agitated because it'd been a long day. And from where I was standing, I could see the table. I wasn't that far away, but I could see the table, and it wasn't really moving. And Warren was talking to a young kid, Little League age. And so all of a sudden, this helper from the promoter sent him over to talk to Warren, and he said, Mr. Spahn, the promoter says you need to hurry up and get the line moving. And without missing a beat, Warren turns to him and says, "Oh, you tell that promoter to go to hell. I'm teaching this young man how to pitch." And the mood of the line totally changed. Everyone started laughing and just saying, "Hey, whatever, well, it takes as long as it takes." But Warren was that old school baseball gruff kind of guy. Very personable though, but he just had that, he was a tough guy, as we've discussed. So, Warren, thank you for your service, and I hope you've enjoyed this special 4th of July edition of Athletes at War, Volume 8. And, I should point out that what we're seeing here on the screen, that would help. First, we have the Great Moments card signed by Warren Spahn, one of my favorite Great Moments cards. And second is baseball, and as a matter of fact, this is the baseball I got during that first meeting of Mr. Spahn. And the last is very special. I just got that about a week ago. It's a 1951 Bowman, signed by Warren Spahn. You don't see many of these signed. You see a lot of reprints, but you don't see the originals. My wife got this for my birthday, and it's just going to be at the top of my collection for quite a long time. So again, hope you enjoyed this, and we will talk to you soon.